Hi there. Welcome to the AZ Snakepit Video Roundtable on the 8th of June, 2014. I'm Clefo, that's Kishi over there, who you can't see because I realize there's two people in this right now, and it doesn't do the weird mosaic at the bottom, but you'll just have to take my word for it that he's here until he talks anyway. Um, we'll just get started on the usual sort of generic recapping the week topic, and for maybe not the first time, but like one of the only weeks ever where the Diamondbacks have to be feeling pretty good about themselves because they went into Colorado and swept the Rockies and then lit Dinger on fire in a parking lot and may have peed on them, or that was just a dream I had one day. And they also just took 2 or 3 from the Atlanta Braves. So, what stood out to you of this past week of Diamondbacks baseball, Kishi?
I was really confused where they did that thing where they scored more runs like repeatedly than the other team. Um, no, I think I mean some good pitching out there, but well, good pitching in for the most part in Phoenix, but the offense in Colorado was even for a Colorado game. What do we put up? 28 runs in 2 games there in the last two. Um, which I mean that's great to see. That's after the way this season has started. I think any sort of positive momentum is a welcome change. And I mean, I think last week we were talking about it. We were saying that hey, 3-2 wouldn't be too bad, but I think going 5-1 on the week just kind of blew our expectations out of the water. So good work, team. Because
Yeah,
I
this team
assume
was
that the
actually
Diamondbacks. I was to say I assume the Diamondbacks are actually watching this live. I think
all of them.
Kirk Gibson invites them all over, and they've got it up on a big screen.
Yeah. And I think Miguel Montero is making rude comments at us in Spanish. You know, that's fine. Whatever. We see you.
No S cool,
Yeah,
Miguel.
no es frio.
No S frio.
But yeah, it was kind of weird to see, like, hey, this team's kind of fun to watch play baseball. Where was that all April? And it kind of goes back to why was April so crappy? Why could it have just at least been like decent or like slightly below average? Then, this team might be in something, but that's the way it goes. But I was surprised we took 2 or 3 from the Braves at home, considering how terrible Diamondbacks have played at home so far. Uh, but there was a time where it looked like the series would be lost up into the ninth inning of the second game, where uh, then for Craig Kimbrell just decided to go, and he didn't feel like saving today. So, and despite Addison Reed's best efforts, the Diamondbacks still won. So that was nice.
Yeah, that was. I think yesterday's game was really nice in that. I mean, we came back in the ninth, we came back in the 10th, we came back in the 11th. There wasn't really a point late in the game where it seemed like the team had given up, and given that having given up on the season kind of seemed to be the overall trend in April, it was great to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all figured even in April the sort of rational parts of our brains, if they exist, then we kind of knew the team would play better at some point. But at the same time, there was not a lot to suggest that it would matter, other than, thanks to us beating up on the Braves, they're not alone in first place in the NL East anymore. So there's a certain joy you get out of ruining other people's stuff, because I don't know, we humans are wired weirdly.
I think pretty much since, I don't know, maybe about tax day, just our mindset as a team, as a fan base, has been, how do we play spoiler?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we've made a difference here. Plus, if I remember right, we're actually threatening to move out of the basement of the NL West.
Yes, if the cards fall correctly, we could be as high as third in the NL West by the next episode of the show, which is exciting because we're playing slightly better, and I guess more importantly, the Padres and Rockies are playing a lot worse, especially the Rockies. Which, boy, wasn't it fun when the Rockies went off on a really hot start and then faded? That never happens. Oh wait, it's happened like every year since 2010.
I don't know where. I mean, even in the Diamondbacks history, you've never seen something like that happen. Like a really hot April and then just cooling off and coasting downhill for the rest of the season. That's
Never done that before. Never happened. Not
no.
once. Especially
There's
not twice.
no. I mean, I also feel like there's an obligatory reference to Heroes in here, the show Heroes, but
So save Todd Helton, save the world. What are we getting at? I don't
man,
know.
Vaguely safe for work, Todd Helton.
So not DUI mugshot Todd Helton. Let's say
Yes.
yes. That's what we mean. Wink. So that's kind of exciting. That the Diamondbacks are 15 back of the Giants. The Padres are 14 back, and the Rockies are 12.5 back. So, yeah, that theoretically could happen. Will it? I don't know. Go watch games and find out. I'm not your dad. Do what you want.
If you think that you're coming to the Roundtable for accurate predictions, I would like to say welcome to your first Roundtable show.
We are not in Turtle Land yet, but give it till September or so. I think that's also a good segue to talk about next week's games. So we have, for some reason, because second weekend in June is some sort of holiday, on tomorrow and Tuesday there are 2 games against the Houston Astros in Phoenix. Fine, that's a thing that happens. But then, Wednesday and Thursday, there are 2 games against the Houston Astros in Houston. So this is a weird back-to-back kind of thing. Don't know why that is. But then following that, there are 3 games against the Dodgers in Los Angeles. So how's that upcoming schedule? How does it make you feel as a person?
Primarily, it makes me wonder if the following the Tuesday game, if the Astros and the Diamondbacks will there be a race to the airport and to get on their planes and to see who can be the first one to land in Houston, or will they share a plane? I don't know. These are the questions that baseball raises for me and are very, very seldomly answered.
It's sort of... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, continue.
No, it's sort of like a Le Mans start, but for baseball. For those of you who may not know what that is, when they ran the 24-hour of Le Mans, which is a car race, which is exactly what it sounds like, they used to, not anymore because it's not safe or something, they used to just sort of line up the cars sort of along the pit road, and then on the other end of the pit wall, the drivers would run to the car, strap themselves in, and go. So it's like, maybe it's something like that for baseball?
Maybe. I would... okay, first off, you say the Le Mans race is exactly what it sounds like. So is it a race that also involves drivers practicing the breathing techniques that they give pregnant women?
They may as well, because that's almost a hominid. But yeah, this is when you're driving for 24 hours. You got to have good breathing technique.
Yeah, and also when they ran to their cars, I mean, I assume this is F1, right, or something similar.
It's sports cars.
Oh, it's sports cars?
Yeah.
So were they obligated when they ran to their cars to like slide across the hood, or was that just encouraged? Honestly,
it's run in France, and they're lame. But if it was run in America, AMURRICAH, then they totally would have. I mean, I totally would have, because yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Is a better question.
I think if you did that, you got like a free lap or something. I mean, but yeah, I mean.
Also, I believe it gave you a 5-second head start to get away from Boss Hogg.
Yeah. Man, look, Can we get Waylon Jennings to narrate the plane, even though he's dead, the plane ride from Phoenix to Houston? Well, them Diamondbacks boys really got themselves in a pickle now. They let George Springer hit 2 home runs against them yesterday. How are they going to get out of this pickle?
I think this is the best plan, and we need to see what sort of necromantic powers we need to summon to get it to happen.
I know a guy.
Oh, good.
Weird.
I will never dispute that fact. Anyway, back to actual baseball. I mean, looking forward to the Houston games. That's Houston, and Houston is who they are. I think that. I think we can do pretty well against Houston, but that's generally because I think if you can't do decently against Houston, you actually are allowed to call yourself a professional baseball team anymore. I think you actually have to go begin advertising yourself as a beer league team.
I will say, in Houston's defense this year, there are, I'm counting, 1, 2, 3, 4 teams in Major League Baseball with a worse winning percentage than them this season so far.
Well, good for Houston. Good for Houston. You're only scraping the bottom of your division and not the barrel.
Honestly, it does seem like, from what I know about Houston, because I think anyone who's a baseball enthusiast is somewhat interested in sort of their rebuilding process, because they basically blew everything up and started from scratch, like almost literally. But apparently their hitters are starting to hit. Just the pitching's not coming along, and they are playing in a division where 3 of the current playoff seed holders are so that's fun. But they're interesting to they're interesting to watch, and I would be interested in watching them. Except I can't because I work all week. Kill me.
Actually, and now that I look at the division at the standings, I'm going to actually retract some of my making fun of Houston because there's 5 teams in the division. There's Houston, there's Texas, who's a game under 500, and then everybody else is over 500 in their division. So, assuming Houston has played a fair number of interdivision games there, that's not bad. And also, as you did point out, there are 4 teams that have a winning percentage worse than Houston. And
I guess which one of them is?
Yeah, your Arizona Diamondbacks. So there's probably some jerks in Texas who are currently doing a video roundtable chat about how if you can't play well against the Arizona Diamondbacks, you're not allowed to call yourself a professional baseball team anymore.
Oh, really? So Braves, Rockies, bye-bye. It was nice knowing you.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Brewers as well. You're gone.
I'm liking this plan.
The Dodgers and the Giants at one point. I'm just saying.
We're in second.
Woo-woo. We're in second behind the... Did we win a series against the Padres at one point?
28-35 Padres. I'm trying to remember.
If we did, then haha, first place.
By default. Default.
But yeah, I think the Astros games will be interesting. I'll get to watch one of them. Tuesday's apparently a day game, so that's fun, which makes sense because getaway. Yeah.
Looking forward to Tuesday.
Yeah. So fast forward to did I hear Tolkien Bard? Yes, I did.
Yes.
Aha. He's here.
Yeah.
So let's.
I've decided I don't like Google Hangouts, or it doesn't like me. One or the other.
It doesn't have feelings, or does it?
It's Google. You never know.
Does it pass the? I'm trying to remember what the name of that robot test is.
Turing test.
What do you call it?
The Turing test. Which,
the Turing test.
Interestingly enough, a chatbot actually recently did pass it. Apparently, the standard is that you have to trick 30% of the judges. Mm-hmm. They tricked 33. but the question is really valid because the chatbot was supposed to be said it was a 13-year-old Ukrainian boy who had a less than perfect command of English.
So benefit of the doubt there or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, even with that disclaimer, it's still kind of interesting that something was able to reach that standard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. But I think every member of this panel passes the Turing test, so
Sometimes.
or do they?
Ooh.
Shifty eyes, shifty eyes. But speaking of the Turing test, let's talk about the Dodgers series. So we're in Los Angeles. The Dodgers have been playing. There's been sort of playing like the 2013 and 2012 Diamondbacks, sort of even keeled. They also, interestingly enough, like the Diamondbacks, own a pretty abysmal home record, but their road record's way, way, way better, and so is their home record. But so and plus they've got quite a few injuries lining up. I think Puig was taken out of Saturday's game with an injury of some sort. And,
I think he sprained his bat flipping hand.
Oh yeah. It's like
Puig
throwing a
and
slider.
Gordon were both lifted from that game.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say bat flipping is also like throwing a slider. You can't like have too much wrist action, or you'll just f up your wrist. So you gotta be safe there. But how do y'all think that'll go?
I don't know. I think that one I think is kind of going to be a litmus test to see. Whoa! Sorry. No, that's going to be a litmus test for the team to see, I think, both how the Diamondbacks are actually performing and how the Dodgers are performing. I seem to recall that Don Mattingly had some less than safe for work dialogue about his team recently, basically saying that he thought they were underplaying, which, I mean, another June where Don Mattingly thinks his team isn't performing up to spec the way they should be.
He ain't wrong.
He ain't wrong, but I mean, you kind of have to wonder, what's the common factor in those two seasons, Don Mattingly? It's that cursed artifact you stole. Why do you even keep it? But yeah, no, I think if we could, I think if we could take two out of two in Los Angeles, that'd be nice. That'd be a little cheerful.
Yeah. I'm not sure what'll happen because I don't know. I like making predictions, but I'm also bad at them, so it's like, yeah, 2 or 3 could happen, and this is a better road team and a team that is playing better for the most part. And by the most part, I mean is playing better. It's kind of hard not to discount that because I was flipping through channels after the game today. Baseball Tonight came up. I'm like, highlights, and they were showing a graphic. It was mostly just to say, "Ooh, look how good the Giants are doing," because they had since April 26th, which that's an arbitrary as all hell date. These teams have the best winning percentage in the National League. First was the Giants, tied for second were the Marlins and the Diamondbacks. So there is proof that the team is playing better for some reason.
That's kind of I knew the team was playing better, but I didn't think that they were doing that much better. That's kind of a surprising statistic.
I think there's a lot of rest of the National League being kind of shitty in there, but I'll take it. Beyond like those 3 teams. Yeah.
This has definitely been a year of mediocre teams.
Yeah, since I'm still looking at the standings, 3-way tie for first place in the NL East, Atlanta, Washington, and Miami at a whopping .525 winning percentage. And that 525 means they are also in first place and the first and second wild card because the third wild card is currently tied between the Cardinals and the Dodgers, who are both barely above 500. So yeah. It's
just as a reference, a 525 winning percentage over the whole season would be an 85-77 record.
Yeah, yeah.
The
So,
East is going to come down to whoever gets healthy first. Those teams are beat up. Atlanta probably least, so despite how their season started, I'm going to be kind of interested to see if the Brewers can actually hold on. I think the only reason they're legitimate contenders at this point is they got off to such a hot start that it's going to be tough for them to fall far enough behind now to fall out of the running. But that bullpen is performing so far above its head, it's not even funny. And eventually somebody is going to probably break them.
I mean, it also kind of helps that Cincinnati and Pittsburgh have wildly underperformed this season too in that division. The Cubs are terrible. We all thought that. We've thought that for 106 years. So
Well, we expected the Cubs to be terrible. I don't think anybody expected the Pirates to fall this far. But then when you look at some of the players that have left and the fact that they aren't willing to promote Polanco or use some of the assets they do have, I guess it's not entirely surprising that they more or less suck again. But this time it's squarely on management. It's not the old story of, well, management wasn't spending enough, but the players were underperforming, and that's why the management wouldn't spend. A lot of the players are doing what they're supposed to now, but management just doesn't want to spend money.
yeah. Pittsburgh got a Pittsburgh. They had that. It's probably going to be another 20 whatever years before something good happens to them again. Which I think the National League is. I think it'll sort itself out in the coming months, one way or the other. More so, I think the Brewers and the Giants are in a really good place just because they're so far ahead right now, whilst a lot of other teams are not. Which that's how things work. Let's change gears. This is my mind for changing gears. Like I'm driving a big semi truck because that's where the gear knob would be. Let's answer a question asked by Asteroid to everyone on the pit. What is going to have to change for Major League Baseball to revisit its definition of blackout areas for MLB TV? As more people become cord cutters, their notion of but there's a Fox Sports channel 200 miles away from you becomes less relevant. This is especially interesting, I think, to you, Kishi, because you're going into the danger zone soon.
Danger zone? Yeah, I'm going to be heading into the Great Black Pit that is known as Las Vegas, which is the blackout zone for 20% of Major League Baseball. So honestly, what I think it comes down to is money. And you know what? If you look at that deal that the Dodgers signed for their broadcast rights last year, and all the money that somebody paid to have those broadcast rights, which, as I understand, they broadcast to 20% of the Los Angeles area?
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, when MLB does finally revisit it, once they finally realize how much of a market there is for them to make money on the internet, because the internet will give you money, baseball. They will pay to give you money. They will pay for you to let them watch their teams on the internet. I know it's a surprise. I know that it's concerning. I know that you're worried about all the cats that also seem to be on the internet, because apparently you're doddering old men in my mind. But there's going to be it's going to take a big fight between what is more important to MLB, the money and the viewership they can get online, or the money they're getting from the broadcast rights. And once they narrow down the blackout zones, there's going to be some sort of backlash, I expect, because nobody is going to want to pay $17 quadrillion to broadcast the Dodgers rights if it doesn't include that whole blackout zone. So.
I think to put it another way, cable companies are dicks. That's a minor bit of swearing for the show, but that's the best way I can phrase it. I kind of think that because it feels like it's the cable companies who are trying to sort of do these blackout zones, because if you're in that zone, they want you have to ingest this product to see our thing, and they do wield a lot of influence and money in various corridors of power. And Major League Baseball is probably one of them, and they don't want their sweet deals, lessened because some jerkass on the internet only has to pay like $20 a month to watch just baseball, when you could just pay $60 a month to watch baseball and a bunch of cookie channels you don't watch and some reality TV stuff and oh god, I don't know, the lawn bowling channel.
Okay, first off, it's Mr. Jerkass, and also there's like 7 different shopping networks and 8 home and garden networks, and I think there's a History Channel just specifically devoted to explaining how aliens built everything in the world.
Well, baseball just signed itself into a big contract with some of these. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to change anytime like the next 30 years. Nice to see baseball take it at the NFL's discretion which games are going where and when. And baseball should have that. Now they've got teams like and the Rangers on these 20-year deals that nobody is going to let them out of unless they want to refund that money and some penalties as well. So I don't see the blackouts changing, even, or at least they should be altered enough where all away games are exempt, because it's not like you can go to the game to watch it.
Well, and I think the thing is, like you said, they've signed into these 20 or 30-year contract deals. Look at how the internet itself has changed in the past 10 years, 15 years. Think of what it's going to be like in 5, assuming that we don't go the general dystopian route where none of us actually have the money necessary to access the fast internet. But there's going to be, I think MLB is having the same problem that the RIAA had, or the MPAA too, where they're not dealing well with the changes in the technology. The TV channels do the same thing, where they want to take the framework and everything that they've applied to television and transfer it and assume that it's going to be just as effective on the internet, and that's not how it goes, unfortunately. I mean, unfortunately for them monetarily, unfortunately for everyone else in their ability to view things.
Yeah, I thought of just a real life example of that kind of not baseball related, but kind of the same thing of like MTV, obviously pre-dumb reality show MTV was, they were sort of the place to go if you wanted to watch, music videos and stuff. And so when the internet came around and, everyone had a broadband connection, it seemed like they could have been what's it called? Vivo, on YouTube, where they are the sort of carrier service for, new music video stuff. But MTV is owned by Viacom, which don't want to stereotype it, but there is a truth to it. It's just like old men in suits who think the internet is a passing fad, so they didn't really jump on that, and someone else did. They cornered their market, and it's that kind of thing. Got to adjust to new things, but like you said, Major League Baseball has not done a great job of that, and just because of the influence that cable companies hold and the long-term deals, it probably isn't going to change. So, yeah, everything's terrible. We're all going to die alone and afraid.
I was going to say, less, I wasn't going quite to the alone and afraid part. I was going more of the, as the technology advances and as it becomes more integral to people's daily lives with smartphones and things like that, if Major League Baseball finds that they aren't properly, promoting themselves on the internet and they're making it harder for people to watch, they're losing a viewing audience. That's what it comes down to. And all of Major League Baseball will die cold and alone and afraid.
Just like the good Lord intended. That was wholly inappropriate. But I don't care. I don't have any questions coming in. And I've run out of things to talk about. Is there anything you guys would like to bring up, baseball or otherwise? Or I could just stare blankly at the screen and it could turn into a weird art film.
I think if it was going to turn into a weird art film, we would need internal monologues that were entirely in French. Unfortunately, I don't speak French. I don't know about anybody else.
No.
As I demonstrated earlier,
we could go to Italian.
As I demonstrated earlier, I don't even speak Spanish well.
We could just have a tear ascending back into a clown's eye while kids in domino masks play Ring Around the Rosie and beat each other with sticks, and it's all black and white. That kind of art film.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if anybody has any thoughts on our draft picks. Anybody guys are super excited about? Or
I prepare for this show. I was going to bring that up.
It seemed like we did go for a lot of high school players, at least in the earlier rounds. So
I think it did show a lot of long-term thinking that you would be right to think hadn't been shown with Kevin Towers up to this point. I just like to say Tuki Toussaint because that's fun. And hope he signs. There seems to be some good indication from people who vaguely think they know what they're talking about, so that's always fun. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to really analyze the MLB draft in the same way you do, say, the NFL or NBA draft, because in those, the guys you pick, their instant impact in some way, good or bad, whereas, we have to wait and upwards of anywhere from 2 to 5 years or something for any of these guys to really show up on a big league radar. So feel free to disagree.
Oh no, I was just gonna agree. I think that that's always kind of what makes it hard, and even like you said in the NFL, you draft them and they're generally on the sidelines. 4 months later, or sometimes starting, depending on how desperate your team is. Whereas baseball, you sign them, and then maybe a couple months later, they're in the most distant corner of your minor league farm system. That was the word I was trying to think of. System. Top-notch quality analysis at the AZ Snakepit. But yeah, the guys that we sign, I'm very interested to see what we'll get from the guy we drafted first, who I will admit I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce his name. I don't know if anybody wants to fill that in for me.
I did say Tuki Toussaint, a minute ago. I'm guessing that's right. Nope. I actually didn't watch it.
Tukey Toussaint. Okay.
Yeah,
Tucson, Arizona. For your pun. But yeah, it did seem a lot of sort of high upside high school guys, which fine, I guess, because I think last year we took a fair amount, at least in the first few rounds, a fair amount of like college pitchers, and sort of went in a different direction, which could work, it could not. I mean, I'm just going to type in a random draft here. I'm going to say 2007 MLB draft, and it is kind of a crapshoot because load up. For example, first overall selection in the 2007 MLB draft. Again, I just picked a year at random. David Price. 3 scrubs in between him. One of which I'm kind of sure has yet to make the major leagues, and then Matt Wieters. So it's a weird toss-up. And it sort of develops. Sort of depends on if the person drafted is in the right situation, and they can, they develop correctly and they get good coaching. Because I'll admit, has anyone here heard from Kevin Aherns at all? Because I don't recall. Or
he doesn't write. He doesn't call. He just no contact at all. Come on, man. We miss him.
Not a bit.
I guess.
Or Josh Smoker, or Andrew Brackman, or Edward Coons, or this is just in the first round, so I mean, we'll see. Or Jared Parker, don't know who that is.
No clue.
No clue.
Wah, wah, wah. I don't have a soundboard. I have to make the noises myself.
And as Jim just
I
pointed
will
out,
take at least one college talent on the first day, just because we do need some help, and a bit sooner than we're going to get it from the guys we did draft. Tukey, though, I had as a top 10 kind of talent, so when he fell to us all the way down at 16, it was kind of a no-brainer to go ahead and take him. There were a few other people that it would have been just fine, and we would have seen them sooner, but Tukey's probably going to be a number 2, maybe even possibly a number 1, depending on how he can develop a third pitch. We got a whole lot of upside that should definitely make it to the bigs. Whether they make it in the role we currently see them remains to be seen, like our second pick. That guy can strike out anybody, it seems like, but he is kind of on the big side, and he's going to have to trim down if he's going to be a major league starter and go deep into games. But even if he can't do that, we should be able to get, a good 2 innings out of the bullpen from him on a regular basis, and that's one heck of a power arm to be throwing out of the bullpen. That's not what you want to take with your second overall pick, but it's still somebody that's going to make it to the bigs, assuming his arm doesn't fall off between now and then.
seriously.
And I think that's exactly part of the reason also why it's hard for me as a fan to get too invested in the MLB draft sometimes, is because there is that you're watching everybody and there's the voice in the back of your head like, oh man, this guy looks great. If he doesn't blow out a body part here in, minor league, or he has some sort of mechanical problem that causes an injury, or I mean, it's there's no such thing as a pitching prospect because they can always get injured. At least I think that's what they mean when they say that. I hope so. Otherwise, I don't know. Scouts will just be upset at me, and somehow I will have to live with that dishonor for the rest of my days. But, I mean, yeah.
Think a scout's going to send you a passive-aggressive email or something? Because that's never happened.
No. Why would some sort of reputable, respected scouting position in the baseball community ever send a passive-aggressive email to somebody on a blog?
Yeah, that never happens. Not once. Nope, never. I was just gonna say something, but I forgot. But yeah, Jim points out in the comments, and we'll get to the question he has there. And why do I have a tape measure in my hand? I don't know. That Vanderbilt must hate us after that draft because we took a lot of Vanderbilt commits, and you know what? Vanderbilt has the privilege of being the only school in the SEC that's not totally a safety school. But honestly, that only goes so far. You know, I said Vandy, deal with it.
What you gonna do, Vanderbilt? Make some sort of... Never mind. That just wasn't going anywhere. Let's move on.
I don't know
Still here's
anything
questions.
about. I don't know anything about Vanderbilt other than it's a national and it's vaguely prestigious. So
They've got more talent coming out their ears than they'll know what to do with. I mean, our second-round draft choice was very likely headed to the bullpen at Vanderbilt. So, I mean, they can only their fans, their little cadre of followers can be upset at us all they want. They'll forget all about these guys. Well, maybe not Tukey, but yeah, for the most part, they're going to forget about these guys by next week when they've still got enough guys on their squad to fill out a whole team, and more than half of them will.
And possibly to fill out a team that could maybe take 3 out of 5 from the Diamondbacks on a good day.
it's sad because it's kind of true. Yeah, I mean, grow up, Vandy. If it wasn't us, someone would have taken a lot of these guys. It just so happens that we did. So, yeah. So I think we'll wrap up with this question from Jim in the comments. Which of the following rookies do we think has the best chance of sticking long term? The choices are Evan Marshall, David Peralta, Chase Anderson, Ender Inciarte. I mean, Chris always could fall into that too, but I think we had a sort of higher prospect opinion of him than we did those guys.
Again, I'm not a good person to go to for predictions. I would really like to see Chase Anderson stick around, not because I think he's going to win every start for the rest of his career, but if he wanted to, that would be okay. But just because, I mean, I think that he's helped add a little bit of stability to our rotation, and Lord knows that's something we've needed for quite some time. Possibly always, except in seasons when we have Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling pitching back-to-back. Yeah, so he's the one that I would most like to see. I mean, I'd love to see if Ender Inciarte can stick around, and if we can reshuffle our outfield into a less frustrating configuration of players. But, we'll see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, I guess just to go off of that, I hope they all stick around. I'm impressed with Marshall, but bullpens be what's the word?
Bullpenning?
Yeah. So he's good for the most part. Then he might just blow up in our faces, and everything's terrible again. A la David Hernandez for most of last year. Just should pull a name out of that hat. So he might do. Inciarte, I think he's been hitting better, but I think he's more of probably a quad A player at best. I mean, his speed's his best tool, which that only gets you so far. And he's decent defensively, so we've got that going for him. Peralta is intriguing just because of his story, and if he was a little younger, he had been hitting the way he had in the low minors, he'd probably be a more heralded prospect. I think the common thread for a lot of these guys is that I don't recall seeing any of them on any sort of reputable prospect list, but a lot of them are performing, so screw you, list makers. You should feel bad.
And Peralta's been quietly getting it done in the minors for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
He was never going to be on anybody's list because of his age, though. And he could be lighting it up the way Jake Lamb has been, and he still wouldn't make many people's lists simply because of his age. But his age is tied to his change of position, so if he can be a serviceable fourth outfielder, that'd be great. Right now he's actually performing like a starter, but it's not uncommon for guys to get off to hot starts, at least at the beginning. But I'd be thrilled if he could be a replacement level fourth starter, and I've seen about as much as I want to see of Marte, and if we can, never try the Kieschnick experiment again, that'd be great. They've made it pretty clear that they aren't going to run Nick Evans out there, which, given that he is defensively challenged, I guess I can live with that. I still would have liked to have seen Nick get some more playing time, though. But if that's our choices, I'd rather see Peralta out there at least trying to improve his game and perform than see Ross out there anymore.
Yeah, I'll see.
Ross, just every time Ross goes out, he's like, I was at the game today and I looked up on the scoreboard at one point and I was like, oh my God, Atlanta has BJ Upton hitting second. He's hitting 211 right now. Why would you even start a player who's hitting 211? Oh, wait, that's about 20 points higher than Cody Ross is hitting. But at least we aren't hitting Cody Ross towards the top of the lineup.
Anymore.
Anymore.
Yeah, honestly, Cody Ross he's right now, he was okay before he got injured last year, but right now he's basically setting a pile of money on fire, which some people can enjoy that. I personally don't, because it's hard out there. Stay strong. But yeah, I'd rather see, especially in a season like this, guys like Peralta and Inciarte out there in the outfield. Some guys with potential, maybe even if it's like a very low chance of being sort of long-term value to the team, than say Cody Ross. And of course, things are going to get squiffy when Trumbo comes back, which could be any week now.
I think he's got 2.5 to 3 weeks, and Chavez might be going back to the DL within the next week. We have Putz ready to come back in about 1 to 2 weeks. Things are going to get a little bit dicey. I think if Chavez goes down before Putz or Trumbo comes back, that's when things are really going to get interesting, though, because who are they going to call up? You don't call Marte or Kieschnick back up. We've got enough outfielders as it is. And Jake Lamb, as much as we'd love to see him, have another guy making the jump from Double-A to the big leagues and doing it kind of early.
And I think you keep Lamb in the minors for kind of the same reason stated to keep, before he got hurt, Archie Bradley in the minors, because you don't want to bring that sort of talent up until you're reasonably sure it can stick around for a bit.
Really, I think what you're trying to say here is that you don't want to lead Lamb to the slaughter.
Oh, that's bad.
I'm dead. You killed me. I punished him. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm going to just crawl in my bed and never wake up again.
I'm gonna go to Tucson to loot Charlie's body.
Joke's on you. I ain't got shit. Yeah, it'll be interesting once all these sort of healthy people come back, and some of whom may not want to come back. You just go, it's like, hey, Mark Trumbo, how's that foot feeling? And can you hold this bowling ball for us? Oh, God, Butterfingers. So sorry. Ooh.
The sooner we can find an American League team that needs a designated hitter, the better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the rub. But I think seriously on that note, because we've run really long tonight, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. Watch more. Watch always. Watch old episodes. Especially watch episodes from last year where like, haha, they were wrong. I'm going to laugh at them. Except turtle facts. Those are eternal.
I was going to say, just you might want to, if you're a teacher of a class between about 3rd grade to 7th grade, maybe run the turtle facts episode for your science classes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a free service. It's our gift to humanity, to the children of America. But yeah, for the three of us, for me, good night. Watch next week. Go Diamondbacks, I guess. I don't know. Live your own lives. Don't let me tell you what to do.
He's the man.
Keeping you down. All right. Bye.